Hi there. I just wanted to show you a little bit today about how I use Tailwind tribes. And so first what I'm going to do, I'll get into my Pinterest profile, and I do have the Tailwind extension in my lineup here for extensions for Chrome. And if you don't have that, I'd like to show you really quickly how to get it. So you can just type in Chrome Web Store. Excuse me, and you can just type in Tailwind. And since I already have the extension, it says rate it, but you, if you don't have it, you can click add to Chrome if you're in the Chrome browser. So that is one thing that really has sped up my pinning process. And I actually just learned about this recently. So what I do is I go into my featured board because it has all of the pins that I've created. And then I scroll down quite a ways. And then when I click on the little icon for the extension, this is what happens. So it takes a look at what I have on the board, and then it arranges them. And then all I have to do is just click on the ones that I think I would like to pin to different boards. So I'm going to choose some that I maybe haven't pinned in a while and that people might not be tired of seeing. So I'm going to have to look for a little bit just to see what I have here. So I think we'll stop here at the bottom, and I'll just click and select some images that I think maybe people haven't seen in a while. I think that that's enough for now. I don't know if I want to show you the whole process because it might take a little bit, but once you've selected some images, click on Go Schedule. Sometimes, for some reason, when you click on it the first time, it just comes up with a tip, and I'm not sure why. It's a little bit glitchy that way. So sometimes I have to click on the extension again, and there we go. They're all still there. But now, let's see if those others were still selected. I think I'm just going to have to select them again and see what happens. And I think this time I'll only select a few, maybe 4. Okay. So I'll click on Go Schedule again. I'm not sure why it glitches like that sometimes, but here's what you do. So when I have these pins here, I want to select where I'd like them to go. And one thing that I did do in Tailwind was I set up board groups, and there's a lot to explain about Tailwind. I don't know how much detail I want to go into, but I put the travel boards that I pinned to in a board group. So if I click here on travel boards, it's going to bring up all of those. And the yellow means that I have pinned from this web link before, maybe not this necessarily this picture, but I have pinned from this page. So let's see how long ago. Okay, 2 days ago. I definitely don't want to do that, but a month ago, sure. That's long enough. So I'm just not going to pin it to my travel tips board. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. And I think that I'm just going to give you a view with this first one. I'm not going to do all of them. But what I do is If it's not a brand new pin, like this is a redesigned pin from an old post, and it's not the first time I've pinned it, so I'm not going to add it to my tribes. If it were a brand new pin design, even if it were for an old post, I would go ahead and add it to my tribes, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. But what I'm going to do, since I'm pinning to a few boards, I'm going to use interval, because Pinterest does not like it when people pin the same pin back to back 2 times in a row. You might get flagged for spamming and get your Pinterest account locked down. So I certainly don't want that to happen. So I'm going to click set interval. I'm going to just leave it here on the 2 days. And if you want to, you can click optimized. I forgot to click that, but I do. And that just puts it in the time slots that have the most traffic. So once I have done that, I'm going to click schedule now. And I would, if I were going to take the time to do these other 3, I would go ahead and do these other 3 right now. But right now, what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and get into, one other thing. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to pin. If you have some things that would go all on one board, you can pin them all on the same board here. Now these obviously do not go onto a single board, so I'm just going to get rid of them. I wouldn't normally do this, but because I'm demonstrating this, I want to go ahead and let's choose a few things, maybe some recipes. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the extension again. And I'll go ahead and just choose a few recipes here. And you notice my recipes have the word easy in them, usually. So I'm going to just, they're all easy recipes, super easy, easy cake and mug, easy zucchini bread. So I am going to type in my board name of easy. I'm going to just start typing it, and it'll bring up my easy recipes board. Now I'm just going to click schedule all, and they'll go all in my easy recipes board right now on my schedule. And really quickly, what I'll do is I'll show you, I'm going to go to my scheduled posts. Now the disadvantage of bulk scheduling like I just did is you don't get to see how recently you pinned something to that board. So usually I would use that bulk scheduling. Maybe if I were going to pin something to my most popular board, I could go to, well, I'll show you that now. So if I go to my boards, there's just a lot to talk about. So I don't want to make this video too long. But if I go to all of my boards, my Best of Flexing Well board does get a lot of traffic, but another board that gets a lot of pins from it is my blogging tips board. So if I go to this board, actually, this is where I'm going to put them. But where I want to get them from, I'm going to go into my smart feed. Or you can even do a search. You can type in blogging tips. You can see there are just so many ways to use Pinterest, so many different things, but this is one way with Tailwind that I really like. Okay, so here are the suggestions when I type in blogging tips. I'm going to go down a little ways, scroll down, and then I'll click in the Tailwind extension, and there it's showing a lot of these pins. Now, I want to just say a quick word. Some people who pin to Pinterest, if they're just starting out, they just pin a few of theirs, maybe like 10% and then 90% of others. But if you've been on Pinterest for a while and you have quite a few pins, then you want to make the shift over to pinning more of your own pins. So I'm not going to select a lot of these, just a few that I think my followers might like. They always like to read about blog traffic. and beautiful photos. Let's do this one too. Okay, so we'll click Go Schedule. Those are all blogging tips that would fit in really well with my blogging tips board. So I'm going to go ahead and just type in blogging tips and then schedule all. And this all clear is just letting me know that I'm not pinning any of these back to back, and they're good to go. So those are pinned, and now what I'll do is I'll go to my scheduled posts. So then this takes me right into the Tailwind dashboard, and it is showing me that I have today's all filled up, and I'm trying to get a little bit ahead here, so this is good. I can see that I also have I have maybe about half of tomorrow's filled up. And if I look there, I can see that quite a few of those are my own pins. I think I'm going to do some more of my own pins, but I'll do that later. What I want to show you is, so sometimes things for those pins that I had to delete that I didn't schedule, they'll be in drafts. And I usually just like to get rid of those. I just like to clear it out. But that's just me. Some people might have drafts in there on purpose. I don't know. But I'm going to go ahead and just clear these out right now. I'll pin those later if I want to. Okay, so a couple more things about Pinterest. I'll try to be fast. This is the little tab for tribes. I'm not going to really spend a lot of time on this. I do belong to 5, which is the maximum, and they're in a variety of niches. I have gardening, cooking, teaching, blogging, and so that not every niche, because I write about quite a few things, food. So each one of my 5 tribes covers a different part of my niche. Now, if you have a narrower, I don't know if it's niche, some people say niche or niche. If yours is narrower, then all of your tribes might be pretty closely related. And so another time, I'll go into more detail about how to find tribes and join tribes. But I do belong to 5, and every time I publish a new pin, even if it's for an old post, I do try to share it with my tribe. And most of the tribes I'm in have the rule to share one pin for every pin that you post. So I do try to follow those rules. And just a couple other things here. I do use Smart Loop. Some people don't like it. I think that it can be a good thing because there are pins that I forget about. And so I put some of my best performing pins in my different loops. But I could do a whole video about just Smart Loops. One thing I would say is I am avoiding doing Smart Loop pins to group boards because I can't really tell when they pin to the group boards, and if the group board has a rule about pinning someone else's content every time I pin mine, it's really hard to keep up with that with Smart Loops because I don't always know when they pin. They just pin automatically on a schedule. So that's one caveat with Smart Loops, and I think that's why some people don't use them. But what I've done is I've just put in my Smart Loops, almost all of the boards are my own boards. So I'm not breaking any rules there and not going to make anybody mad. There are some different things you can do. You can do board insights to see how well your boards are performing. Here's one quick thing I'm going to show you though before we go. I'll try to wrap it up with this. I do love board lists. They save me a lot of time. So especially because I write about a lot of different things. And so I put my different boards into groups. And so when I'm pinning, you might recall that at the top of my board list when I was in Tailwind, at the top of my list when I was choosing where to pin were these board groups. And so this just saves me a lot of time. If it's a travel post, I just click on my travel board group and those 4 right here would come up. So I would encourage you to create board lists, board groups, if you, even if you have just one niche. Maybe you have a lot of boards that are pretty closely related, but you can still have different board groups and maybe have 5 boards to every group, and it would just speed up your scheduling process quite a bit. So I do not know if this has been enough of an overview for you, but what I really, really want to say is, of course, you can do manual pinning, um, and and I will probably do a video about that too. If you are pinning with Tailwind and scheduling pins, it's always good to do a little bit of manual pinning as well. But I tell you what, this Tailwind um, extension has really sped things up for me. So if there's nothing else, if you get into Tailwind and you're overwhelmed, if there's nothing else that you do, I would just encourage you to start using that extension. Like I said, I did not realize what a great tool it was until a short time ago. But now that I know about it, it's really going to help me out. So I'm going to go ahead and continue doing that. I'll end the video, but after I end the video, I am going to keep scheduling pins using this extension and choosing pins that come up and scheduling them quickly. Saves me a lot of time. And at work, I'm not allowed to do social media. So that's another reason why I chose to spend money on Tailwind. I don't spend money on a lot of things for the blog other than hosting and the spam protection and maybe some classes here and there or some graphic design tools. But Tailwind, I tell you, it has been well worth the investment. I hope this has been informative, and thanks a lot for watching.